in order to stabilize the country and to make the leaders okweguya abantu, the leaders must okweguya. Okweguya, how do you translate it? They must feel beholden to the population. They must know that if I don't serve the people, they will not vote me next time.
And from overseas, Russia-Ukraine peace talks, Moscow invites Zelensky to meet Putin.
Brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
All right, welcome to News at 8. My name is Luke Majumba Alinaitwe with today's bulletin. Starting us off today, vote tallying for the Kampala Mayor and Division Council elections has stretched into its third day with the candidates and supporters anxiously awaiting for the final outcomes. The exercise being conducted under the tight security at Makerere University Business School in Nakawa has already seen key victories declared as the Kampala District Electoral Commission continues releasing the results.
Vote tallying and declaration of results for the Kampala Mayoral and Division Council elections have entered the third day, with candidates and supporters still waiting for the final announcements. The process is being overseen by the Kampala District Electoral Commission, chaired by Jennifer Chobtunji at Makerere University Business School Mobs campus in Nakawa amid tight security. In today's update, the Kampala Electoral Commission chairperson Jennifer Chobtunji officially declared musician Ari Bukeni, popularly known as Nubian Lee, as the winner of the Nakawa Division mayoral race after contesting on the National Unity Platform ticket.
As returning officer for Kampala Electoral District and in accordance with Section 147 of the Local Government Act, Cap 138, I declare Bukeni Ali Nubian Lee, who has obtained the largest number of votes, to be the elected candidate for Nakawa Division Electoral Area, Kampala.
Bukeni was announced the winner at around 9 a.m. after securing 19,121 votes, defeating his closest rival, Paul Mugambe, who gathered 14,125 votes. The declaration was met with jubilation from Nubian Lee supporters as he was handed his official victory certificate. While addressing the media, Nubian Lee described the victory as hard-fought and thanked his campaign team and the people of Nakawa for the trust they placed in him.
Abantu be Nakawa basimye bakulembere naddala okubatuusaako obuweereza ofiisi y'obwa meeya bw'erina okubanga etuusa eri abantu b'omu Nakawa era nga bingi nnyo bye tugenda okukola. Ekisooka njagala okwebaza Mukama Katonda olw'okututuusa ku buno obuwanguzi. Njagala okwebaza ttiimu yange yonna yonna. Buno obuwanguzi si bwange naye obuwanguzi bwaffe ffenna ne ttiimu n'abantu b'e Nakawa bonna bonna. Njagala okwebaza mukyala wange ono Salha Buken Ali era nga byonna byonna abaddewo nga abeerawo okulaba nti nno tutambula tunoonya akalulu.
He pledged to prioritize service delivery and inclusive development, promising to work for all residents without discrimination.
Kubanga twagala kugenda mu buweereza bw'abantu ate nga tusobolera ddala okuweereza abantu. So bingi bye tugenda okukola, tumanye ebizibu bya Nakawa kubanga nizaalwa ya Munakawa, nkulidde Munakawa. Kale nyinza obutabimenya bimenya byonna bina ssaawa zino olw'obudde naye nga ngenda baweereza ate nga ndi munnankyukakyuka atagenda kwefuulafuula.
The leader of the opposition, Joel Senyonyi, congratulated Nubian Lee on his victory, describing him as a leader Nakawa can be proud of and assured residents that they had chosen well.
He's a leader in every sense, very creative, era tumwina munye subi. Era abantu be Nakawa tulindirire. Bingi between essuubi nti byagenda okwasaganya ensonga ez'enjawulo ennyo. Musajja ono mulaba oluusi abeera musirise naye he's extremely creative, extremely thoughtful. Tubeera oluusi nga emitwe gitwesibye. Nubian navayo ne idea ne tugamba lwaki obwedde osirise obadde osirikidde ki idea entuufu. So tumwenyumirizaamu tukuyozaayoza era abantu bannakawa mwe mufunye ekyapa mu mannya gammwe.
Meanwhile, in Rubaga Division, Zaki Ndawura Mberaze, also representing NUP, emerged victorious in the mayoral race after polling 30,731 votes. He defeated NRM's Charles Semogirire, who received 8,693 votes, and Democratic Front's Moses Kasiwanti, who managed 3,638 votes.
As returning officer for Kampala Electoral District, and in accordance with Section 147 of the Local Government Act, Cap 138, I declare Mberaze Zachi Maula, who has obtained the largest number of votes, to be elected candidate for Rubaga Division Electoral Area, Kampala Electoral District.
Kaziza nnyo okusooka ddala okumpa akalulu akangi bwe katyo ate n'okumpa obwagizi obwonna nkubidde waggulu nnyo era nsaba nabaga nti ngenda baweereza bulungi ngenda wenatandikira wengenda okwongereza ate n'ebyo bitana kuggwa bigenda kuba bikoleddwa mu kisanja kino ekya 2026 paka 2031 era byonna ebyo mbadde mugamba bujjo mu bibanja kuno tugenda kuba nga tubikola tufune obwezi obulungi obwa servant leadership nga mwe boss baffe mu abatulonda.
The Electoral Commission continued to release results as Kampala awaits the conclusion of the vote tallying exercise.
All right, moving on elsewhere, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Anita Netamong, has received the Auditor General's report for the financial year 2024-2025, calling on government to urgently strengthen funding for the Office of the Auditor General. The Speaker emphasised that adequate financing is critical to ensuring effective oversight of public funds, especially under the Parish Development Model Programme, as concerns of accountability and impact continue to emerge.
The Speaker of Parliament has urged the government to ensure adequate funding for the Auditor General's office, highlighting the challenges faced during audits, particularly under the Parish Development Model. This call was made earlier today when the Auditor General met the Speaker to present the annual report for the financial year 2024-2025.
Government, we need to see how to facilitate the Auditor General's office, because we are giving out a lot of money out there, but they should be able to ensure that the money is put in proper use. So I want to request your office that when you get their report, you see how to support them, one, in terms of increasing their staff and then availing them with transport.
In response, the State Minister for Finance assured that provided the report and requirements are submitted on time, the ministry would reconsider its position.
In the budgeting season, let's see the requirement and then together we work out what is possible. Thank you.
Sheila Naku, the manager at the Office of the Auditor General, outlined some of the audits conducted during the financial year, noting that a total of 6,875 audits were carried out.
So mu report eyo mulimu reports audits za njawulo zakoze nga zo muzo mulimu okutunulira ensimbi government zekozesa obanga twazifunyemu omugaso nga bwe kiteekeddwa okuba kyetuyita value for money. Tutunulira engeri government gyekozesaamu ebyuma bikalimagezi mu kukungaanya ensimbi mu kuzitereka era ne mu kuzisaasanya kyetuyita information systems.
Among the audits carried out was the parish development model, to which 3.2 trillion shillings was released. While some success stories were noted, challenges were also highlighted that limited the impact of the funds.
I noted that the entire budget of the PDM was disbursed by government to the planned circles in accordance with the guidelines that were provided. However, Right Honourable Speaker, despite this progress, I identified areas that require improvements, and this include lack of alignment of parish priorities to local government budgets and work plans, delays in disbursements of funds to households, cases of ineligible projects implemented, and that some of the projects were non-existent, although funded.
The Auditor General also highlighted the challenges facing the office, but directives are given to ensure they are addressed.
Before I conclude, I wish to highlight key operational challenges affecting the Office of the Auditor General. This includes staff shortages and insufficient transport fleet that affects our ability to audit remote areas, particularly under the Parish Development Model Program.
All right, moving on elsewhere, mechanics in Chirwa Municipality and Kasangati have officially launched their Savings and Credit Cooperative Organization, SACCO, after President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni pledged 300 million Ugandan shillings to support their economic development. The initiative aims to boost the livelihoods of garage owners and mechanics, with government officials urging the SACCO members to use the funds responsibly to drive the economic transformation, and leaders at the launch also called on for unity and peace as the mechanics embraced a development-focused agenda.
The move follows President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's recent meeting with the mechanics at Kororo Ceremonial Grounds, where he promised to support the garage owners and the mechanics by injecting shillings 300 million to their circles to improve their livelihoods. Earlier this month, the Presidential Advisor on Economic Affairs met mechanics in Chirwa Municipality and Kasangati to further explain the government initiative and guide them on how the funds would be managed. Today, the mechanics under the umbrella body Presidential Initiative for Garage Owners and Mechanics, Chirwa Municipality and Kasangati Savings and Credit Society Limited officially launched their SACCO. The event was attended by leaders from different levels of government, including Major Fred Yiga Kabito, the Deputy Resident City Commissioner in charge of security for Kampala and the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area. He commended Ugandans for maintaining peace and called upon the mechanics to continue working together to achieve their SACCO objectives.
Commitment. Tulina okubeera nga twewaayo okukola ekintu ekyo kye tutandise paka nga kikoze eki nga kiwedde. Then ekyokutaano oyinza okiyita consistency, okubeera nga ekintu ekyo kikola ki kitambula, continuity nga kyeyongerayo.
Several facilitators took the mechanics through SACCO operations, emphasizing that financial discipline and warning against practices that could derail their development goals.
Tuyimiddeko ng'abenyaale President wataba abakola babaawo ne Fabians tuwa mu kitundu. Nja basaba ebigambo bitono nnyo nti omukisa gujja lumu. Kola ki? Saagala nnyo tubisiyuzinge oba tuzanye mugwino omukisa gwatuweebwa.
The Kasangati Resident District Commissioner Chigongo Juma encouraged the mechanics to support government programs, especially those aimed at improving household incomes and transforming communities economically. He cautioned them to set clear goals and use the funds responsibly, avoiding unnecessary expenditures.
Baba lese milioni 3 kuyagala 10. Ogu. Tikoyagala 10. Ogu.
ng'ate abantu muli bangi nga bwe mbalaba wano. Ekyokubiri kwe kweteekateeka. Sente ngenda zijjayo ngenda kukola ki? Honorable agambye temugenda mu bbaala n'oziteeka mu nsawo n'ogabula obusente pulezidenti bwe watuwadde katubulage ettaaki. Tusaba mugende mukozese sente ezo nga bwe babalambisa. Sente za kwewola. Mwami omi yali awo n'agandi bwe mutubuzaabuza sente oli yatuwadde kubako nfuufu. Kirugi kisabo kyamale bwe yajja n'agamba esente za kukola ki? Yagamba atya? Za kwekulakulanya nga weewola buki bwewozi.
The SACCO chairperson, Engineer Stephen Mutawe, thanked President Museveni for fulfilling his pledge and dismissed criticism surrounding the initiative.
Okubanga SACCO yaffe tugironkinze leero era nebaza omukulu kisa kya Mukama obweyamo bwe yatuwa nga tuwe wa President Museveni obweyamo yabutuusa era sente twazifuna. Leero ndokinze SACCO eno nga chairman waabwe nga nsaba era bamakanika bannange bonna mbasabe tukwatire wamu. Abaali bagamba nti ebintu balimba bakola ki bagenda so atuwa sente mukulu Museveni sente yazituwa.
He noted that the SACCO will strengthen unity among mechanics and focus on development projects, stressing that it will not be used for political manipulation.
Abatuzikwate bulungi nga SACCO eno nga zenji kulembera tubawoole sente muzize ate nga tusanyukira era tuli wetegefu okulisivinga ebirabo ebirala mukulu byatuwa ne sente zeyatugamba akawumbi ettaka ndi mwetegefu nnyo okubanga nsobirisivinga nga chairman wa Kira municipality.
Waliwo eyagamba wamakanika tebulimu sente ng'akudisi kalejinga okugenda okukola obwamakanika naye bangi abafunyeemu ku ssaawa eno nga yali akugaana talina bwali.
All right, stakeholders in Uganda's electoral process have described the recently concluded elections as free and fair, affirming that the polls were conducted in line with established laws and procedures. They have, however, advised candidates dissatisfied with the outcome of the results to seek redress through the courts, emphasizing that the judiciary remains the lawful avenue for resolving electoral problems.
The recently concluded presidential elections drew nationwide attention as Ugandans turned out to decide who could lead the country. At the close of the polls, National Resistance Movement flag bearer President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was declared the winner, securing 76.25% of the total vote cast.
Yoweri Tubuhaburwa Kaguta Museveni, 7,946,772 votes. Now therefore, candidate Yoweri Tubuhaburwa Kaguta Museveni, having obtained the highest number of votes in the election and the votes cast in his favor being more than 50% of the valid votes cast at the election, the Commission hereby declares the elected president declares candidate Yoweri Tubuhaburwa Kaguta Museveni.
Political analysts have since weighed in on the conduct of the elections. Speaking to our reporter, Kazura Nathan, a political analyst affiliated with the NRM, described the electoral process as largely peaceful and well managed, crediting the stakeholders.
And people have been coming out supporting us massively, and that massiveness have been seen in the boxes of the Electoral Commission. So I thank Ugandans. Election has been free and fair. And if you say, even where Kyagulanyi voted from, Kasangati, his area, the electorates are 2,000, but 1,000 only voted where Kyagulanyi votes from. And President Museveni got there 260. Kyagulanyi got 800. The rest never turned up. So if some, in Kamocha here, all reporting stations Museveni defeated apart from TRC, And TROC, President Museveni got 540, 470, 600. That is a very small margin. If somebody finds you where you are born from and defeats you, Kambocha market, President Museveni defeated Kyagulanyi. Chifumbira, Museveni defeated Kyagulanyi. This side of Bukoto, Eden, Museveni defeated Kyagulanyi, and everywhere. What does that one show? If you are saying they cheated you, first ask yourself where you voted from. This time people have voted him massively. But why? It has not just been accidentally. It has been intentional. President Museveni moved the whole country before even campaign.
He further urged opposition parties that are dissatisfied with the election results to petition the courts for the fair hearing, noting that the judicial process ends the appropriate avenue for the revolving electoral disputes.
Constitution give them the window, let them go to the courts of law, but by the way, the Kasavantes have gone there. But we are going to defeat him from there because even he has no grounds. Kasavante even never got 1%. But it's just there to be known. And that's democracy. Democracy, every person must be heard.
On the issue of invalid votes, which stood at 275,353, the Electoral Commission was criticized for inadequate voter education, with stakeholders noting that more civic awareness is needed to help citizens correctly understand the voting process.
How can a leader, you teach people to do invalid things, irresponsible things, they spoil Ugandans' money, because those ballots you are saying they spoil, we have used our money to produce them. So that one is among of those many invalid votes. Secondly, even civic education also comes into Electoral Commission. Electoral Commission should give a chance to each and every media to have their announcements and education teachings on their TVs and radios. Across the country, we have 245 radios.
Leaders who emerged victorious in the elections have been urged to prioritize service delivery and intensify efforts to reduce corruption in order to improve the welfare and livelihoods of Ugandans.
All right, thank you, Rita Ndera, for that report. Now that ushers us straight to the Archbishop's moment, so please stay on and let's listen in from what His Grace has for us today.
Archbishop's Moment, sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
St. John's Wakiso Secondary School, where faith meets education.
So it's always good to remember to say, God, thank you for the far. I still have a job. I'm still alive. I am still smiling. I am still able to talk. If you are still able to talk, and some of us even talk excessively. There are some people who laugh excessively. And there are those who are serious, and even seriously serious. All those are there. But that's how God created us. So the reason why we come on such a day is like what the psalmist said in Psalms 100. Psalms 100 verse 1. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all your lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know that the Lord is good, and he has made you, and not ourselves. We are his people, and a sheep of his pasture. And I like verse 4. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and his courts with praise. And be thankful unto him, and bless his name. Why? For the Lord is good, and his mercy is everlasting. So that's why we are here. Just remember God, his faithfulness, his kindness, his love for us. All these are God's attributes. What makes God to be? His attributes, he's good, he's kind. God is good. And all the time. God is good and that's his nature. Exactly. We are here to talk about God's attribute. One of them is good, and that is nature. So we are here on a day like this to thank God for his faithfulness.
Archbishop's Moment, sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
St. John's Wakiso Secondary School, where faith meets education.
God is always around, so please, I understand so many people out there could be having numerous challenges and you find yourself stressed a lot. But always remember that there is the Lord. So what are you supposed to do? It is just a matter of embracing Him, and that's how your things will be simplified. So always embrace Him and also trust. That is through prayer, of course, and also reading your Bible. That's the message we have today from His grace. Please reflect on it. And now we take a short break and return with more news. Welcome back. This is News at 8 here on Church of Uganda Family TV. Parliament today turned its attention to concerns surrounding the conduct of the recently concluded elections following allegations of abductions, arrests and technical failures in the voting process. The leader of opposition demanded explanations from the government over the reported detention of opposition figures and malfunctioning of biometric voter verification machines.
There has been a growing concern over alleged abductions alongside arrests, made especially throughout the electoral process. The leader of the opposition, Honorable Joel Senyonyi, has raised a concern at the floor of the parliament today, demanding an explanation as to why some of their party leaders are being allegedly abducted and arrested.
By the way, for information to colleagues, the election is not just an event. It's a process. Campaigns are part of the election. And how they are conducted, how candidates are treated or otherwise, that's part of the election itself. and it feeds into the credibility issues that we are raising. So the brutality, people killed, candidates ill-treated, and so on, critical concerns that have got to be addressed by this parliament. People are still abducted. Right now, Speaker, on the eve of the election, colleague leaders in my political party, one, our deputy president in charge of Western Uganda, Jolie Jacqueline Tukamushaba, a lady who is well known to you, was abducted. To date, her whereabouts are not known. The Honorable Lina Zedriga, our deputy president in charge of Northern Region, was abducted. You see the challenge about these issues. We keep raising them and some colleagues say, but you are pestering us. Yes, we shall pester using this platform that we have. It is unacceptable that people get abducted and their whereabouts are not known for one day, for a week, come into 2 weeks. Why can't people be produced in court? Government needs to help us understand.
In response, the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, stated that the state does not engage in abductions, but instead carries out lawful arrests.
Police and security agencies are doing their work. If there are people who are breaching the law, police and other agencies are mandated by law to take action. What we have guided security is that if they arrest somebody, he or she should be arrested lawfully and taken to gazetted centers and processed in accordance with the law. Now, cases of those you are saying have been abducted, I cannot confirm here that someone has been abducted because there is a law on missing persons.
Honorable Senyonyi also raised concerns over the failure of biometric voter verification machines during the presidential and parliamentary elections, questioning government and seeking an explanation for the malfunction of the devices.
And they said, now we have a solution so that votes will not be rigged by government officials. That came at a cost. But alas, on election day, the machines failed to work. And we said, wait a minute, how come they have been functional? By 11, by midday, people were not voting. And the Electoral Commission issued a statement and said, okay, let's go back to the register. I said, what happened? We need an answer because we spent billions of taxpayers' money. Is it that fake machines were procured? That means somebody has got to be held responsible.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance explained that he had not yet received a comprehensive report regarding the biometric voter verification machines, citing technological challenges. However, he noted that the issues did not hinder the electoral process, adding that despite initial difficulties, voting proceeded smoothly once the machines became fully operational.
And we went through all the processes, tested the equipment, procured the equipment through the Electoral Commission. But unfortunately, on the day of calling for presidential and parliamentary, there was a technical hitch. And technology sometimes gets technical hitches. I am yet, as a Minister of ICT, to get a technical report from the officers who were involved.
He further reiterated that the National Unity Platform presidential candidate, Robert Kyagulanyi, was not facing any charges, emphasizing that the state was not pursuing him, despite being aware of his whereabouts. He added that anyone dissatisfied with the election results should seek redress through the courts of law.
All right, moving on. The Uganda People's Defence Forces UPDF Defence Council, convening at the Land Forces headquarters, has elected 10 representatives to the 12th Parliament. In his address, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who also serves as the Commander-in-Chief of the UPDF, urged leaders to prioritize identifying and addressing the practical needs of the people, noting that this has long been the guiding philosophy of the national resistance movement. We have the report.
Article 78 of the Uganda Constitution provides for special interest group representation in Parliament, covering groups such as the Armed Forces UPDF, the youth, persons with disabilities and workers, and requires that at least one woman is included among these representatives. This provision ensures that groups not represented through direct geographical constituencies still have a voice in Parliament. It's from this ground that the Uganda People's Defence Forces Council, presided over by the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the UPDF, His Excellency retired General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has elected 10 representatives to the 12th Parliament.
Major General Moses Wacharate.
The elected male representatives include Lieutenant General Sam Okiding, who received 340 votes, Lieutenant General James Mujira with 303 votes, Lieutenant General Sam Kavuma with 282 votes, Brigadier General Gonyi David with 266 votes, Major General Henry Masiko with 251 votes, Major General James Chinalwa with 241 votes, and Brigadier General Joseph Semwanga with 198 votes. The elected female representatives are Kano Ikiriza Knight, who garnered 307 votes, Kano Meme Silvia, who got 314 votes, and Kano Nekesa Christine Situma, who received 261 votes.
I, Kateba Tumsime Diana, being the returning officer for election of Uganda People's Defence Forces representatives to Parliament, having added up the number of votes cast for each candidate in accordance with Section 72 of the Parliamentary Elections Act, Cap 177, I declare the following who have obtained the largest number of votes as elected.
In his address, President Museveni thanked the UPDF High Command for nominating the officers and emphasized the importance of leaders who can identify and address the practical needs of citizens.
And also thank the Electoral Commission for organizing this function very well. I also want to thank the High Command for having nominated the people whom I forwarded to you.
President Museveni tasked the need to closely monitor government programs in
polling exercise. As we all witnessed, the voters were orderly and peaceful. After voting, they did not hang around the polling station, but calmly went away. I did not hear of any agitations. He called on
all stakeholders to settle down and embrace unity as the election season comes to an end.
As we draw nearer to the conclusion of the electoral cycle for 2026 general elections, I would like to appeal to every Ugandan, here present and those not here, that the time is now for us to settle down and focus on those programs and activities both at national and individual level, that are fundamental to our livelihood as well as the socio-economic transformation of our country.
During the same ceremony, President Museveni commissioned 3 officer cadets presented by Major General James Chinalwa, Joint Staff Human Resource Management. John Baptista Homza, Church of Uganda, Family TV News at 8.
Thank you, John Baptist Homza, for that report. Elsewhere, the Ministry of Lands has asked Parliament for 316 billion Ugandan shillings to compensate registered land title holders in a bid to resolve a long-standing land dispute across the country. Appearing before Parliament's Committee on Lands, State Minister Sam Mayanja said the move would allow lawful occupants to finally gain occupants of their land they occupy. The request comes as the Ministry defends its 2026-2027 budget estimates, which also include funding for affordable housing and land administration reforms.
State Minister for Lands, Sam Mayanja, led by officials from the Ministry of Lands to appear before the Parliamentary Committee on Lands, chaired by the Member of Parliament for Buyende Javira Semwanga, to defend the Ministry's budget estimates for the financial year 2026 to 2027. According to Minister Mayanja, the main issue under consideration is compensating registered landowners whose land is occupied in various parts of the country so that the land can be returned to the lawful residents living on it. Currently, the Ministry of Land requires Ugandan shillings 316 billion to compensate registered title holders, commonly referred to as absentee landlords. Minister Mayanja said that once government buys this land, the titles will not remain with government, but will instead be handed over to the rightful occupants, enabling them to acquire secure ownership.
Tezikyuka kubanga bano ba absentee landlords si bye bagenda okubeerako ku ttaka. Tewali disturbance allowance. Etera nnyo okuzongera ssente ezo kyoli avaawo n'agenda anoonya awalala. Kati ssente ezo za kusasula nannyini kyapu oli akirina, si kuba nti aveeko agenda awalala. Gavumenti ezisasula ate bali abaliko ne kuspendinga ssente endala okubawa ebyapa to survey and map and title. Kati ssente awo kyeziba zifuira ku figures naye tezeeyongera kubanga surveying and titling eyo ministry egenda zikola naye ate nga ate n'ezo 3 million eziweebwa zizabadde calculated ziba reduced by 40% kubanga tewali disturbance allowance ate gavumenti etwala nti ezimbeko kino oba kiri.
The chairperson of the committee, Javira Semwanga, said the committee will support this proposal because it's very important. Nothing that the president raised this issue during his campaigns in Buganda and Bunyoro, where he promised many residents that the government would buy out the landlords. In the same vein, the Ministry of Land also needs shillings 350 billion to inject into the National Housing and Construction Company Limited so that it can build affordable houses for citizens and help them move out of slums.
Tutunulidde nnyo okulaba nti tumalawo okugugulana ku mataka mu bitundu ebya Buganda, ebya Bunyoro, Bugishu n'ewalala. Era amaanyi agasinga gateereddwa kulaba nti gavumenti ng'eyita mu Uganda Land Commission eyongera okufuna ettaka eri abo be tuyise ba absentee landlords okulaba nga tubasasula ensimbi ettaka eryo ne lidda mu gavumenti then gavumenti neekola ebyapa n'ebiwa abo betwandiyise ba bona fide occupants.
On the same matter, government also needs funds from the ministry to buy out the shares owned by the Libyan government in the National Housing Company so that it can become fully government owned. Since the fall of the government of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, there had been challenges in the management of the company, especially regarding the 49% shareholding owned by Libya. For this, shillings 389 billion is required to buy out the Libyans. On the same matter, government also needs funds from the ministry to buy out the shares owned by the Libyan government in the National Housing Company so that it can become fully government owned. Since the fall of the government of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, there had been challenges in the management of the company, especially regarding the 49% shareholding owned by Libya. 189 billion is required to buy out the Libyans. The ministry is also focusing on demarcating Uganda's borders with neighboring countries to eliminate border disputes in different areas, as well as improving land title issues and monitoring systems.
Share ya kuba kati government ya Libya efuna amagoba nga tekoze. Yo yateekayo buteesirumu kati efuna naye nga ate tekoze teina contribution yayo ndala. So kati wano Uganda National Housing yekola nnyo ate amagoba ne tugagabana ne Libya kyenkanyi.
Semwanga further stated that the committee will support the ministry to secure adequate funding to hold the many land cases pending in different courts. Nothing that these cases secure our investors. Currently, the ministry is handling 227 land-related cases.
Land administration oba engeri ettaka gye likwatibwamu eterezebwa bulungi nnyo omuntu kati olwaleero ebbanga lyamala okumanya okusaachinga ku ttaka lye n'okumanya oba lirina obuzibu ebiseera byakoleramu ekyapa okulaba nti obudde obwo bwonna bukendeezebwa.
Thank you, Emmanuel Alengai, for that report. Elsewhere, over 180 youth from the Rwenzori region have graduated from a vocational skills training program aimed at promoting self-reliance and economic empowerment. Sponsored by El Shaddai New Plant Ministries with support from WAD and DEED in the United States and Canada, the program equipped young people with practical skills in welding, tailoring and saloon management, along with startup tools to help them begin income-generating ventures. The graduation ceremony was held in Kasese, drawing beneficiaries from 4 districts across the region.
Graduates received dry welding machines, tailors were provided with tailoring machines, while saloon trainees were equipped with professional saloon tools to enable them start income-generating ventures. Additionally, 10 youth who did not undergo formal training were each supported with goods as part of their efforts to promote household economic empowerment. Speaking at the graduation ceremony, the project manager of Word and Deed, Mr. Dave Mee, urged the graduates to reflect on how far God has guided them, noting that the equipment they received was a blessing meant to transform their lives. He encouraged them to work faithfully and responsibly as they begin their respective enterprises.
It is God who had given you these things. It is God who has given you faith. So as you walk in this earth, however long it would be, remember how far God has brought you in His great love for you.
Reverend John Cashon Molabio, representing El Shaddai New Plant Ministries, urged the graduates to remain steadfast in their new journey of professionalism, encouraging them to stay strong and resilient in the face of persecution and challenges.
Number 4, direction. Number 5, perfection. You cannot be perfect without passing through challenges.
The Kasese Municipality Education Officer, Mr. Emi Kairi, urged the youth to remain disciplined, focused, faithful and positive in managing their businesses, emphasizing that a good attitude is a key driver of success.
I'm requesting you to remain very faithful as you do your work using that kit that you have been given. Go and serve the community faithfully. People will come to you because you are faithful.
Mr. Kairi further commended El Shaddai New Plant Ministries for its vision of uplifting communities, both spiritually and economically, noting that the initiative indirectly supports the education sector by addressing youth unemployment through practical skills development.
Shaddai New Plant Ministries for having come up with a vision of touching the lives of the people spiritually, not only physically but also economically, and this is supporting the Ministry of Education and Sports indirectly.
Speaking to the Church of Uganda Family TV shortly after the event, the director of El Shaddai New Plant Ministries, Reverend John Cashon Molabio, said that the 10 additional youth who did not undergo formal training were supported with goods to boost household economic empowerment. He added that beneficiaries were drawn from Kasese, Bundibujo, Kamwenje and Ibanda district, with the program sponsored by Word and Deed in the United States and Canada, including startup kits.
We had a graduation of the vulnerable people and Kasese who are being oppressed, being supported by Word and Deed, Canada and America. They train them and also they give them startup kits. We praise God for this day, and we have had a lot of testimonies. We are seeing the transformation of the oppressed people in Uganda.
Almighty God, and it is a new ministry that has been introduced in the Rwenzori region, especially Kasese, but which has services extended in all parts of the country, and we are very grateful for the support that we get through our partners of Word and Deed.
Some of the beneficiaries expressed gratitude to the sponsors and organizers, pledging to responsibly utilize their skills and equipment to improve their livelihoods and support their families. Youth were encouraged to remain open to genuine opportunities and adopt a mindset to embrace vocational and hands-on skills, which are key to entrepreneurship, employment, and self-reliance, ultimately promoting economic independence and growth. Compiled by Xavier Baluku in Kasese for Church of Uganda Family TV, News at 8.
All right, thank you so much for joining us this evening. That marks the end of our bulletin. Now we take a look at what made the main stories.
Headlines brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
Tonight in News at 8. Provided the report is submitted on time, the ministry will reconsider its position on increased funding. State Minister for Finance Musasizi assures as Speaker Mong receives Auditor General's Financial Year 2024-2025 report.
In the budgeting season, let's see the requirement and then together we work out what is possible.
Also tonight, UPDF elects 10 members to the 12th Parliament. President Museveni urges leaders to focus on citizens' practical needs.
In order to stabilize the country and to make the leaders okweguya abantu, the leaders must okweguya. Okweguya, how do you translate it? They must feel beholden to the population. They must know that if I don't serve the people, they will not vote me next time.
And from overseas, Russia-Ukraine peace talks, Moscow invites Zelensky to meet Putin.
Brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
All right, that is the end of News at 8. I understand it is past our time, so please, you're going to be required to stay on for more programs that are going to be coming up. But well, I want to remind you that my name is Luke Majumba Alinaitwe, and I have worked with Ivan in transmission. We all want to wish you a good night.